morning. Today is Wednesday, the June 15th, July 15th. Modified tax day, so go get that taken care of if you haven't already. Today we will be going over phase one of single stick for Shin Arashin martial arts. I'll be using a stick that I have mocked up to be almost ideal. With this is just a simple dowel rod that fits my hand. I have taken electrical tape and put in a piece of cord here. Let's see if you can see that. See that? How it's flat right there? This piece of cord is to make sure you can feel it here, okay? For edge alignment, for maximum hitting angle. And this represents the optimal striking surface of the stick. Now, this is highly modified. You know, the only thing I could do more is to drill it out and put a piece of steel in it, okay? This is optimal for a single stick. I've rounded the edges. The only thing better would be making a rattan or, you know, adding an extra weight to it. That being said, the single stick, unless your everyday carry includes an extendable baton or you've got some kind of specialized reason to carry something this length, is a weapon of opportunity. Much more common will be a stick of slightly bent. You don't know how good the strength is. Could be a little shorter, could be a little longer. Examples of stuff I have here in the dojo is a old school traditional nightstick with nice grooves here, with a flare to have more weight at the end, with a wrist wrap to make sure it's harder to get disarmed. I don't like this one as much because it didn't have as much bottom. We'll talk about that in a minute. Rattan, a porous wood-like bamboo or grass that is solid. This is what most Filipino martial arts, Indonesian martial arts use for their single stick or baston, because it's light, it's fast, it absorbs vibration, and because it absorbs vibration, it lasts a long time with hitting stick on stick. And it's common in Filipino and Indonesian martial arts because it is indigenous to those areas. Not so much in the southeast United States where most of my students are. Shorter stick. This is based on the length of a Wing Chun butterfly sword. Let me grab a mock-up of a butterfly sword. The Wing Chun butterfly sword, based on Southern Shaolin design, Southern common design, really, is meant to have a handguard. Okay, the end of the handle is meant to be in line with the back of the blade. The back of the blade will be thicker than the front, not just the bevel for the cut, but just a higher weight in the back, and usually will not be sharpened in this area. It has this tongue. This one is a little wider at the tip. Sometimes you'll actually see them come to a point like a European blade. That means that design was more for thrusting. If it's more weighted here, that means it's more for hacking. And all the things about this is what makes Wing Chun what it is. A trapping art. It's meant to block. It's meant to capture. It's meant to be able to still punch. So you'll find some of that stuff modified in our single stick and double stick technique. But here's the thing. This is one of the greatest melee weapons in the world, in my opinion. Well, the steel-bladed one would be, of course. Heck, I would take this in most fights. I could get enough force with that to do a lot of damage against a stick, or even against a knife. But whatever you find for self-defense will not be optimal. This is something I've mocked up to represent a, this is added for class, but think about this being a mag light, okay? Think about a plunger, think about a hammer, think about all these different things. They'll add slight advantages and disadvantages for your stick. But understand the basics is the first step. So, we talked about the grip. You will want to place the stick against the meat of the hand, wrap the fingers around, wrap the thumb around, okay? You don't want the thumb here, you don't want the thumb here. It's easier to disarm. If you were dealing with a thrusting weapon and you put the thumb here, that has some point control advantage. That's where my thumb is along. But still adds to the disarming ability, the likelihood of being disarmed. Wrapping the thumb around is better for a striking, slashing. Okay, why is this here? Why is there a puño, a pommel? Well, on the simple level, this can be used to hit when you are too close. On the more advanced level, it can be used for trapping and locking. I don't know how much we'll be able to go into that in these videos because I don't have a partner here with me. But the striking aspect we will. Okay, so other terminology things we need to know. Pommel or puño, blade or puña. Okay. A lot of our techniques come from either come from Wing Chun's butterfly sword, which is an edged weapon, or from the Filipino and Indonesian martial arts, this would be either a iron blade, a low grade steel blade, or perhaps a stick with, if you go too far east into Polynesian areas, it could be shark's teeth, obsidian, something like that, embedded in the stick when metallurgy was more difficult or more expensive. So some things have to be modified. Bearing that in mind, there is a very common saying in the stick and blade arts that stick hunts bone, blade hunts flesh. What do I mean by that? We want to hit something that is close to bone, okay? We don't want to hit flesh. Flesh can absorb blunt force. It'll bruise, it'll hurt, but bone breaks. And more commonly, the flesh on top of bone is easier to cut with a blunt object. All right, the next important thing is the alive hand. Okay, I am more comfortable using two weapons at the same time against another weapon because I specifically trained that a lot. That is not always the most practical because you're not. What's the chance of finding two sticks when someone comes at you with a knife? Okay. So when you're dealing with single stick, your other hand has to be alive. This is a tool. It is not the fighter. This is the fighter. Okay? So using the stick, do not forget that you still have this hand. You've still got feet to walk around with, kick if you know kicks, knees and elbows and throws and locks. All right? And we will go into that in more advanced, but understand that this hand needs to at very least be on your center line between your chest and nose, okay? Just to be in the way. If the other guy's got a stick and you want closed hands, protect fingers, that makes sense. That's fine. So, the alive hand. Most people will put a weapon in their main hand. I want you to practice some with it in your offhand. 3 reasons. Reason 1, when someone has this in their main hand, it's even easier to forget about their offhand. 2, what if this hand gets injured? Okay, it can't grip. What if this hand is slippery, cut, covered in grease, covered in sweat, and you got to go to this hand? This is the one that picks the stick up. Okay? And 3, having it in your offhand is good in general for your ambidexterity. Okay? It helps increase proprioception, teaches you where this side of the body exists that we forget about so often. Okay. Next part of terminology, the types of hits that exist. Not the angles, the types. We will be today working with hack, slash, thrust, and punyo, pommel strike. Okay. What's the difference between a hack and a slash? Well, let's do thrust first. Thrust. Poke. Okay. Poke with vigor. Okay. If this is not pointed, that poke will be less damaging, generally speaking. It can be a stop hit. Okay. It can hit solar plexus or throat or eyes. Okay. And those are very damaging, especially the eye, throat. Okay. Groin. All right. If it's pointed, then that changes the game completely. But generally speaking, the poke, the thrust, will be the lesser of the weapons, the lesser of the attacks. Hack versus slash. Hack is to hit and come back to the point of origin of the hit. Boom, back. Boom, back. Slash is to hit through. Now that could mean that slashes are more powerful, need more energy. But generally speaking, it's more about where the stick ends so you can make the next motion. So, do it on this side so you can see better. Hack, slash. Hack, slash. Hack, slash. Okay. Angles of attack. Angle 1 is the most common attack you'll see in the universe. It is a 4-hand strike. Okay? An inwards motion. Usually hitting somewhere between the collarbone and the side of the head. If it's bladed, then you'd probably want more around the neck. Okay? Not that a slash to the face won't do any good, but this is a lot more threatening. So you want to try to break this collarbone. Okay? So these times I'm hacking. Okay? If I was slashing, there would be, it'd go through. Now you want to slash, I'll do this towards you in a moment. At the end of my slash, my tip is still pointed towards the opponent. A couple reasons for that. If he darts back and I'm here, I still at least have that thrust at it. Okay? If I go through, I have to go to the other side and I have to be prepared for the number 2 strike, which we'll go into in a second. But if I go through, he's got a moment to come sneak up on my arm and get too close to me. Okay? So, rear leg. Still pointed towards the camera. From lead leg. Lead leg. Rear leg. Okay. Number 2 strike is a backhand strike. Okay. Hack. Slash. Okay. Number 2 is significantly weaker. But if you do this, really easy to know where it's coming from. It's kind of like throwing a jab all day. Learning to go 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1. Okay? You do that towards you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1. Okay? Being able to fly from both sides. Especially when you're trying to use footwork and move around. Very, very important. The last slash we'll work on today, or hack, is the overhead. Some schools argue that this does not exist. And here's why. They will say that anything in this angle is 1 from here to here, and anything from this angle from here to here is 2. Most things you can deal with as 1s or 2s, but let's put 3 for this template straight down the top in existence. Okay, so you know it exists, so you know that something can happen. Of course, that goes straight down the crown. If you're further away, smears the face. Okay, you hit somebody with this on the bridge of the nose, I hope the fight's over. So, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Left hand. 1, 2, 3. Towards you. 1, 2. I'm going to do a little flip here. I won't do it this time. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So that is, if I was doing it towards you, if you were standing in front of me, this would be your left collarbone, right collarbone, top of the head. Right collarbone, left collarbone, top of the head. What's our other hand doing? Generally speaking, it's going to stay right here. Now, it could actively move to assist the strike. Okay? With 1, a tan, 2, a puck, 3, a palm down or gum. Okay? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? If that helps you, 1, 2, 3. If moving the other hand keeps you in acknowledgement that the other hand exists, that is extremely useful. So, the last thing we're going to talk about in that template is going to be the thrust. With a stick, I like to thrust slightly upwards, going towards either the throat or the solar plexus. Okay? If this was a blade, if this had any point, going slightly up makes it harder to see the elbow, makes better penetration. So okay. Now, what if they get too close? Okay. What if they come within range of the stick where you can't get that back part? Well, we're going to go over 3 angles of pommel strike. Number 1 angle, a number 2 angle, and a number 3 angle. Now, that's not to say don't punch. That's not to say don't kick, don't knee, don't elbow, okay? This is just something else you can do. All right, so that 1 can be temple, can be side of the face, can be neck, can be collarbone. 2, all those same things on the other side. 3 can either come down on the top of the collarbones, or forward into the face, depending on where they're at. If you're slightly off, then that 2 goes in. If you're slightly off this way, probably can't see that very well. 1 at the pommel strike, because we're off center line. Okay, how to block those 4 attacks. You're coming with a number 1 strike. I want you to do that. Okay? You're throwing number 1, and I guard here. Okay? This is a pock. You're throwing a number 2. I tan. You're throwing a number 3. Straight down overhead. High block. Okay? Bill. You want to go forward some. So, from the side, against a number 1, a number 2, you want to make contact and whip out. Make contact and turn palm up. 3, okay? And then you can add footwork to that. They're coming number 1, move this side back away, and then you can come number 2. They're coming number 2, tan, step in, and 1. Tan, step in, and 1. They're coming over the top. High block, 1. They're coming number 1. They're coming number 2. They're coming number 3. Okay. They're thrusting. It depends on where your stick is. It can pock or tan. Pock or tan. And then hit. Let's see. Let's make it a template. Left-handed. Let's put left leg forward. 1, 2. On the 3, retract your foot. 4 is thrust. Switch hands, switch feet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just like with the elbow complex, these little templates are mini katas, are mini drills. Okay? It's really good to memorize those, so that way when you go, okay, I want to work on my single stick, what's a template? Hey, here's these 4 moves. That's not all exists, but doing them, doing your template, doing your elbow template, doing your stick templates, you'll understand. It'll be like glancing at your notes, glancing at your textbook, your charts, okay? From doing the 3 + 1 template, 1, 2, 3 + 1, your 3 + 1 template, then you can slow down. All right, What else does a 1 do? Okay, so that teaches you this. Okay, how do you block a 1? Okay, so they're coming in a 1, block. All right, so think about them that way. I guess that's all for phase 1. As always, give me a thumbs up. Make sure I know that you like this. If you have any questions, let me know. You can order online a piece of rattan like this, and it's great. Okay, rattan like this will last you a long, long time if you have a partner. But cheapest I've ever seen this is $12. Okay, $12, and you may not have a partner with you. Go get an old broom handle, saw off the end carefully. Take a Dremel tool and round it if you can. Wrap it with a little bit of electrical tape. This is a dowel rod. Okay, measured. I would measure to about there. Okay, from your armpit to your fingers. All right. That could be 20 inches. That could be 26 inches, depending on the length of your arm. These, I think, I made for a class standard 24 inches. Most Filipino arts will use a standard 28 inch, where they came up with 28 inches. It's a good historical question I should look into. Why is it 28 inches? There was probably a sword or some kind of measurement, traditional Filipino or Indonesian measurement that was close to that. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. So, take a piece of paracord, a piece of old round shoestring, even like tri-braid, some shoestring to make this piece. This is not necessary. You could take just a stick and do this. Take a piece of PVC pipe and do this. But this is a really helpful thing that I believe has helped my students a lot. When you hit whatever you're hitting, you got your post, or you're just imagining hitting, okay? You're hitting the, not the mirror, but your image in the mirror. You see how my knuckles are in line with my neck, okay? That's what this is teaching you, is where that exists. It's a little piece of tactile feedback, which won't exist when you pick up a stick, but you've done this enough times afterwards to know instinctively, for your proprioception to know where you exist in space, for your Golgi bodies, once spirals, all that crap, to know what's going on. Okay, I guess that's it for today.